Welcome back to Mad Tower Radio, where we only broadcast what no one wants to hear. So if you're looking for the men in black outside your window, then you've come to the right place. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Mad Tower Radio, episode 46. I am your host, Dan, joined as always by my co-hosts, Christian and Ryan. Gentlemen.
Salutations.
Is this what it's like to record in a real setup, bro? I've been in a busted-ass, hinge not working laptop for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah, this is his first podcast from the big leagues. Before this, he was recording in a closet.
In a well with a copper wire.
Through a Pringles cube.
But now he's a real man sitting in front of a real computer recording a podcast.
You forgot what we were doing here?
No, I was trying to think of a way to accurately describe it.
According to podcast. That's the only way to describe it.
Infomercial. So what do they do on this podcast, Dan? Let them know.
And on this big boy podcast, we like to talk about ghosts, ghouls, goblins, conspiracies, weird history, weird science, anything in between in the realm of horror. We've talked about movies, we've talked about books. As long as it's even a little scary or a little spooky, we're going to talk about it on this show here. And no bells, no whistles this time. It's not any sort of special event, just getting right down to the meat and potatoes, the bread and butter that is Mad Tower Radio. And I'm feeling really hot, coming fresh off some research, so I'm going to take the reins first, all right?
All right.
Sure thing.
Now, I know that I said, hey, can we record Friday? MK Ultra needs some more time in the oven, and that remains true. So I'm struggling to find a new topic, right? And I'm like, what am I going to do? And what I usually do when I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel is I talk about aquatic cryptids. No, just kidding.
Dang, you sound like me. Was that like a subtweet?
He's scraping the bottle when he gets really fucking drunk.
Dan gets really
and he can't think of a
alcoholic.
monster.
Yeah. But when I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel, I usually go to X, and I'm like, hey, we'll do another X boards, because those are fun, and they're not super high effort. But in my pursuits on the X boards, I was led to another topic that was actually very, very entertaining, and it is about Mars. All right, now what do you gentlemen know about Mars?
That it's a planet. That they found water or a water-like substance on it.
I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a Renaissance man, literal Renaissance man, 1400s. And now, science is the hip, happening, cool thing. Are you doing any of it right? God, no. I'm here from 2022 to tell you, no.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that sticking a bunch of rocks and pig blood in my cow's butt is not going to make a little creature?
Right.
What?
Right. But I'm trying to put you in this mindset that you're in a time, right? And from this time forward, from the Renaissance forward, it is science. It is a great time to be in science. The field is always changing, and we're talking astronomy here, right?
Yeah. I'm a Pisces, by the way.
And
fuck,
it was just mind-boggling to me to have to consider how rapidly this information has got to be changing for these people. Where it's oh, these things are shiny dots in the sky. Okay, well, some of them are shiny rocks. Okay, well, some of them are planets just like ours. And specifically Mars, right? Back in the day, we didn't have imaging software. Obviously, the imaging software was your left hand and your right hand. So dudes back in the day would just look through the telescope and draw what they saw. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so here's some sketches of the illustrious Mars, and they are labeled by who drew them. Cassini in 1666, and Herschel in 1780. So they're more than 100 years apart, and there's some consistency between their drawings, right?
Yeah, they're both gray.
So what I'm here to tell you about today is that I found a theory claiming that Mars is not a dead planet. And that we are being lied to, right? And it was awesome to find this theory, right? Because this guy, he started off with like the chemtrails, right? The dude I followed was a man named Crow.
Oh no.
Yeah, Crow777 on YouTube. And he starts off with the chemtrails, and he starts off with the NASA, and I'm like, oh my god, he's going right into the fucking flat Earth, isn't he? No, this dude loves it, loves all of science, just thinks we're being lied to about Mars. He has a lot of UFO videos that he's posted on his channel as well. Specifically, the type of UFO footage you'll see where it's like stuff being silhouetted against the moon and stuff like that. But no, he's basically saying that Mars isn't a dead planet, right? And he's saying that this gets written off with two points, right? One, optical illusion. Telescopes weren't that good.
Yeah.
You know, they had these guys come in and look at Mars from different telescopes, because this all stems from a guy, Giovanni Schiaparelli, astronomer, 1877, claims that he observed a dense network of linear structures on the surface of Mars, which he called canali, in Italian, meaning channels. Right? Now everybody's like, no. Giovanni meant channels as in like the natural channels, like a river, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, like geographical features.
Yeah, they're like, no, it's a translation error, right? What he meant was channels. So this guy looked up the definition for canali, or for canals and channels, and they come from the same word of French origin, canalis. And basically what he was saying is they're the same word, right?
Okay.
And basically, at this point, you can choose what you think Giovanni meant, right? But you can see consistency over like 100 years. And as telescopes got better, people started doing more and more of like the drawing of Mars and shit like that. And everybody had these as it started to get better.
Oh, that one's sick.
Right? That was my favorite part of this, was seeing all these old Mars maps, you know? But
really cool.
But all these old Mars maps all have these very, very distinct canals and channels. And that's what he's posing that we're being lied to about. Right?
Yeah.
Is that he believes that these are man-made. They either were in use or are still in use. Or maybe not man-made, but they were made. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something made them. Like, they weren't naturally forming.
Yeah. And he talks about all these... he has pretty good points. I don't want to say points, but he has pretty good... he gives off the information pretty well, right? In a way that I can be like, now hold on. You know?
Sure.
And he's showing all these images of like old ass maps of fucking Mars that were drawn by these ancient astronomers, not ancient, but by these old ass astronomers and shit like that. And then here's one that he puts, and this is supposedly
whoa,
an unlabeled U.S. Air Force map of Mars from 1962, with the latitude and longitude lines removed by NASA. For this purpose, I don't know why. Maybe it was to just show off the graphic. But even in this 1962 map, supposedly, these big canals are being represented. And here's another one that I'm going to show you. Right? This was made by a astronomer, Antoniadi. I'm just butchering pronunciations left and right.
Sounds about right. Antoniadi.
But he drew this map from a telescope with his naked eye and a telescope, right? Here's how the maps line up. Because I've read my fair share of maps, all right, but I don't know nothing about fucking, astronomy maps or fucking maps of Mars. I don't know nothing about that. So like, maybe this is just how they represented terrain in the 60s, or who knows, because this isn't like, this can't be anything too fucking crazy advanced.
Yeah, is it like a weird elevation?
That's
map?
what I was saying,
Okay.
like a
Is it
topographic map.
Fucking coffee stain? Who knows? Like, that's the part that he didn't explain very well, was like, what is this supposed to be representing? If you look at the 1909 photo or drawing, that looks a little more clear. I can kind of make out what that's supposed to be, Like, that looks like craters and a ridge and shit like that.
Yeah, maybe now that you mention it, like the darker, long shadows kind of look like the faces, or like the rolling sides of a mountain, sure, but why is there like a spider web Elden Beast in front of all these things?
Yeah, those are supposed to be those canals, right? That's what that spider web is he's saying that even NASA represented these canals on their map, or the United States Air Force represented these canals in some way, shape, or form, right? And he asks, are they even canals? Like, do we even know what they actually are, or like, is that just what we think we are? Which, yeah, obviously, but like, could they be roads? Could they be rivers?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is just what I'm thinking based on the pictures that you've posted. Do you think? I mean, because I don't know enough about, like you're saying, like the study of space and planetoids and all that stuff. But could they have been seeing back then maybe like some form of like the last wisps of an atmosphere on Mars? I mean, we haven't been there.
I mean,
in any way. Yeah, like I'm thinking, like, we haven't been there other than like these little,
maybe.
Yeah, something like that, or like some type of like, they're getting this from, like, he's getting it from his bare naked eye with a telescope. How good was that glass?
Sure. And he talks about this, right? He says that, like, even back then, that these astronomers that were saying, like, these are man-made channels, even some of them, like, this was a big debate, like an actual debate in the scientific community back during the time,
Yeah.
So they would take these guys, this guy, the Giovanni, who, first claimed that they were canals, channels, whatever. And then this other guy, Percival Lowell, whatever. Percival. He was another big Mars channels believer, right? And they brought this guy to look at Mars through these bigger telescopes, which everybody thought was better. But since it was way harder to make those lenses those big ass lenses back in the day, there was more room for error, is what our man Crow was saying. And I'm like, okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Making a big ass glass lens by hand is pretty fucking hard, yeah. So I could see that being the case. Maybe. But like, I just think that there's too much consistency in these sketches across like hundreds of years for it to just be nothing. You know what I mean? For it to be lens damage. Right? And these maps, they get even fucking crazier, man. These maps get crazy. I only screen capped a couple, but they got like what's the really famous representation that we use of the world, where it's like split into like eight little ovals that are all next to each other? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the old Greek map or whatever?
Yeah, well, they made one like that of just seeing all these old maps of fucking Mars was really, really cool. But so back to this Percival, he goes on to further the conspiracy angle a little more, right? So Percival observed Mars for 15 years and made hundreds of drawings of Mars, right? And so he says that today you can only find a handful of them online. And Christian, as our resident crunchy JPEG expert, can you make out some of the features on that map for me? What they say?
Yeah. So I see Mars.
Nice.
I see ley lines, and it looks like the magical key orb from Treasure Planet.
Yeah, so he poses that part of the conspiracy is that they purposely withheld his maps, and the ones that they did send out, they purposefully compressed the quality.
Ah, yes, just like I do to every audio file.
But like, and I mean, I can see what he's saying because there are a fuck ton of like old ass documents that just have the most high definition scans available today, and like this guy got like no love for his work in the scientific field. You know, nobody wanted to make a fucking 4K scan of Percival's maps. You know, like
From this conversation, I pulled up the topographical map of Mars to compare it to, and I'm looking for features that sort of match that upper ridge. And there's something there. I see a little pattern, and I know human brains are like wired to
find a pattern.
patterns.
Yeah, there's that
Yeah.
really famous face rock on Mars, you know,
Yeah.
which that's obviously just a pattern thing. I'm trying to find the video I watched earlier so that I could show you guys some more of these maps. But he has a fuck ton of videos. This dude is going fucking crazy with the amounts of videos he makes.
Does anybody ever offer a explanation as to what makes these features in Mars, or why?
No. He's very, very, very much, just posing the question. You know, like he's not offering an explanation of like, yeah, it's actually, that one guy from Mass Effect, Jakku or whatever his name was.
That's Javik?
Yeah, that guy.
I was gonna say Javik, the Prothean.
Yeah, he's not saying that like the Protheans are all hanging out there. But yeah, here's that one map I was telling you about.
Oh, like to defeat the damned evil Mercator projection distortion.
Yeah. It's to get rid of the Mercator projection. But even this guy, 1905. He's drawn like even in 1905 they had all this shit named and mapped. Like Amazonas, that's a really famous region of Mars. Everybody knows Olympus Mons.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
So it's pretty crazy. He doesn't, he's not telling anybody the answers. He's just there's one point where he zooms in because Google Earth has a Mars. There's a Google Mars. If you didn't know that, you can just go look at a topographical image of Mars right now.
Is there now?
Yes.
Hmm.
He's saying he's going to spots in there and he's being like, look, he's like anybody that knows anything about satellite imagery could tell you that this is intentionally resolution down. And it's like, well, instead of like deflecting and saying anybody that knows anything about satellite imagery, how about you tell me what you know about satellite imagery? I hate that. Ask anybody that knows about, well, how about you know about it, motherfucker? But he kind of leans into the conspiracy angle more towards the end, talking about how it's a lie, but he doesn't know what they're keeping from us, and blah blah blah. He has a
you have to like stick the landing. If you want to accuse somebody of lying, you have to tell me what they're lying about.
Yeah.
Or why.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. But I mean, he leaves it open ended enough where I'm like, I think this guy just genuinely believes this one. Like, I don't think he's a crackpot about everything else. I think this guy just has that conviction.
I think this guy genuinely does not get enough vitamin D in his diet.
For sure. Because one of his other videos is the deconstruction of germ theory.
Oh no. Is he about to tell me like cells aren't real?
I think I didn't listen to it, but I think he's trying to tell you that germs are not real. Yeah,
Germs, they're not real.
I don't know. Do
You
what you will with
I
that
liked-
information.
I like this piece you're giving us. Like, you find another conspiracy theorist, and then we all sit around and go, okay, evaluate his methods, try and find his conclusions.
Yeah. Well, he didn't think the Earth was flat, so I was instantly here to be like, all right, let me listen to what you have to say.
You've passed the first bar of like, let's take a look into you.
Some of his stuff, I'm like, wow, this is very interesting, and it makes me think. You know, like his theory got me to go ahead and then move on to the second part of my topic, where I decided to go see what like real experts are saying about Mars. Okay, now let me tell you about my man Gilbert V. Levin. You guys ever heard of him?
No.
I have not, but I do like the Levin sword and Fire Emblem.
As do I. So, Mr. Gilbert Levin was on the Viking rover mission to Mars in 76. Yep. And so the whole point of that, right, was to go see if there was life on Mars. You know? So they sent in they call it a labeled release life detection experiment. Okay, and they did. They were looking for microbial life, and the experiment. The way they described it was extremely similar to how it's extremely similar to how they fucking found out about microbes the first time. They fucking left out microbial nutrients, and if they got eaten, there's probably microbes. You know?
That's funny. Like, you just lay bait like it's a squirrel or a bunny and just see if something eats it.
Obviously, just leave out fucking food for the germs and they'll come. Right? But all of these came back positive. They did 5 tests and 4 of them came back positive. But basically, this guy who was on the Viking mission was saying that to him, there's sufficient proof of microbial life on Mars. Right? And here's some of his points. Okay, ejecta. Have you guys ever heard of ejecta?
Mm-mm.
So ejecta, right, is stuff, debris, whatever that gets shot back into space from impacts or stellar explosion or volcanology or
So if anything that gets sent out high enough to escape.
Yes. Naturally. And he says that it is likely that ejecta from Earth containing viable microbes has landed on Mars. And I'm just...
That's interesting.
Yep. Here's another one. And this one kind of fucking blew my mind because how have I never seen this fucking picture before, right? Take a look at that. This is from the surface of Mars. Tell me what's up with those rocks.
I see some rocks. And a gradient in the sky that suggests an atmosphere, maybe?
So what's on... Notice anything weird about the color of those rocks?
Oh, no, it's... oh, fuck, what was it? Like... toxic volcanic sludge?
No, it's not desert. It's not the desert varnish.
Desert varnish, there it is.
No,
Yep.
not the desert varnish.
So check this out. 6-channel spectral analysis by Viking's imaging system found terrestrial lichen and green patches on Mars rocks to have the identical color, saturation, hue, and intensity.
So it's a rock from Earth, is what they're saying.
Yeah, if this is a creature or life form that got sent up to Mars from a Earth ejection, do we get to ring the bell of alien life, or is this just like a technical victory?
I don't know.
I wouldn't call it an alien. It's terrestrial that somehow, if it survived long enough or evolved fast enough to survive on Mars.
Now, here's another thing that I didn't know about. Did you know that Mars also has luminous events?
Oh, really?
Yes. That right there is methane. Ghost-like moving lights resembling will-o'-the-wisps on Earth that are formed by spontaneous ignition of methane have been video recorded on the Martian surface.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so he's posing all this like actual fucking hard fact shit that'll be like, goddamn, maybe there is microbial life on Mars. You guys heard me trying to ask Jess this question before we started the show, you know, the excess of carbon-13 over carbon-12 in the Martian atmosphere is indicative of biological activity. Which, I don't know how, but it is, alright? And that's from Gilbert Levin, alright?
Yeah.
Thanks, Gilbert.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, his last point, and my favorite point, goes, no factor inimical to life has been found on Mars.
So
Yep.
he throws it all out at the end?
That's it. No factor inimical to life has been found on Mars. Meaning, there's nothing that says it can't.
Oh, see, I
also
tried
had to
fly under the radar. Yeah,
I also
like, not
had to
knowing
look
that word
up what
meant.
inimical meant. It's okay. It's okay.
So can you give me a
Tending to obstruct or harm.
just because you're an astronaut doesn't mean you gotta fucking talk like a Rhodes Scholar, dog.
Yeah.
Speak clearly.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what he says, is like, there's nothing saying there can't be, you know, which, I mean, he's got a point. But no, I thought some of his fucking, some of his points were nuts, man. Like, I didn't know that there was methane lights on fucking Mars. I didn't know that there were green rocks on Mars. I didn't know what ejecta was.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. I'm into that.
Yeah, right? So at the end of the day, I at least got to thank Crow for getting me to go look at some real science that was just as interesting. But, yeah, I just wanted to spend a little time and talk about our little red neighbor and check up on them and hope that they have life and hope that, like, when we start digging under the surface of Mars, that we just find tons and tons of, like, dead civilization stuff. That would be the coolest fucking thing that could happen in my lifetime.
Do you know the guy who wrote, oh god, what the fuck is that book called? I don't know if he wrote The Notebook or not. Do you know John Green?
Yeah.
The author. His brother Hank Green has a podcast every single week where he talks about Mars. It's Mars News every week.
Really?
It's really interesting. He really goes into, like, anytime a probe goes up, anytime any NASA thing happens in relation to Mars, he reports on it.
It's very interesting.
Well, he never told me nothing about no lichen on the planet.
No?
No.
Well, I mean, no offense to Hank Green, but I'd imagine he's standing on the same side of the line as Brian Dunning and the other skeptoids.
So, I have a Mars fact for you, a fun one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Did you know, in Spanish, Tuesday is Martes. It's Mars Day.
Huh. Any
There you go.
culturally significant reason why?
Couldn't tell you.
The Mexicans originate from Mars, and when
As
aliens
you
finally
know.
when aliens finally do make contact, they're gonna come down to Earth in a giant sombrero. Mark
Like-
my words.
I think all the days of the week in Spanish are named after planets.
Lunes, martes,
Yeah.
miércoles, jueves, huevos.
Yeah, miércoles is like Mercury. Lunes is obviously Luna,
the
the moon. Something's going on with Spain and Mars, is all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting. I didn't know all that about the new daily or weekly Mars news brief. It's pretty cool.
But now you do, gringo.
So get on it. Go follow TikTok star Hank Green, who probably doesn't need our podcast to help promote him.
Absolutely not.
He should promote us.
But
Come on, Hank.
yeah, I hope you liked our little foray and our little orbit around the around our little red neighbor.
No, I like a little science hour. I need something to ground us because we can get a little silly on here.
And now
Yeah.
we're bringing it back around to whichever one of you guys wants to go next.
I thought you were going to be bold and point a finger and make someone go next.
I didn't want to do that.
I mean, I got a short and sweet one. Do you want me to close this out, or I could pat us in between to be a rather...
Send it out. Let's go. Let's hear it.
All right, I'm leaving.
Love me a Ryan sandwich.
So today, I've been watching a lot of old war videos. A friend of ours, Zach, whenever I talk with him, my brain kind of, for some reason, just goes to war, and I think about the two great wars we had for some reason.
You want to hear something bad? You want to hear something bad? Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Whenever I talk to Zach, I feel like I should be watching a war documentary.
Right? Like World War II in color or something?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like when I talk to, I feel like, you know, like those, have you seen that, like that meme picture where it's like an AI took pictures of all the serial killers and put them into one person? This is what it looks like. And it looks like it's Germa. I feel like that's like, if we took all like the war documentaries and stuck them in one, it'd make a human that looked like Zach.
If you took all like military history nerds and combined them, it'd look like Zach.
Yes.
I think exactly it's his body language too. I've seen him sitting at a table like he's Eisenhower. Planning the attack, you know.
So,
he channels
the World War II ghost for us.
Oh well, so I there are plenty of ghosts and ghost stories and stuff like that, but I wanted to look more at things that were kind of like unexplained. You know, there are like stories in like World War II of like, you know, ships going missing or U-boats and stuff like that, or all things that can kind of be explained away. People are like, oh, I wonder what happened. It's like, well, they got sunk by a German U-boat. Like that's what happened. Nothing mysterious about that.
Grow up.
Yeah, exactly. Grow up.
Saddam Stargate, number stations.
You know, exactly. Yeah.
Giant
like, so
of
like
Kandahar.
All those guys. That's what really happened out there. We lost a bunch of soldiers to these big blue giants out there in Kandahar.
Giant of Kandahar came up when I was on X today, and this guy replied, and he goes, "Yeah,
I was on ecstasy.
Yeah, I was on X. I was on X today." And this guy goes, "Yeah, I was in Afghanistan. We killed swaths of those things." I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude.
We mowed him down.
Okay, this guy's part of Fear. He's part of the fucking first encounter assault recon.
Yeah.
Ask him if he could slow down time with the guy in Fear 2. What the hell? So, anyway. So I wanted to, I was looking for more like mysterious happenings, things that have yet to be explained. And I came across, and this is not from World War II, this is from the First War, the war to end all wars.
Spoiler.
The Peloponnesian War.
Yes, the War of the Byzantine Empire. No, so this one is, so essentially what happens is during World War One, and this is called, like essentially this incident is the disappearance of the 5th Battalion Norfolk Regiment. So what happened is like this story or this tale, because, you know, even to this day, people think they may have found out what happened, but it's not, you know, from back then. First of all, it's in the middle of war. It was a long time ago. Things are going to get lost. So I just thought it was really cool to speculate on what it could have been. So this this story follows these guys who are part of the 5th Battalion Norfolk Regiment. And this happened in like the summertime of 1915 in, what's it called? Kuchuk and Farta. I wrote this down so I got it right. Kuchuk and Farta Ova during World War One. So essentially what happened was there was this massive offensive into this town.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what do they say where it's like every plan looks good until you meet the enemy.
Sure.
So they had, you know, like the forces that were fighting, which the 5th Norfolk were a part of, they said, okay, we have this plan. We're going to pull up and we're going to assault this village where there are these enemies at. And, you know, they were on the German side.
Yeah.
So day of the op comes and they, like the COs, like the guys who are in charge of the whole operation start handing out like maps and equipment to like the officers. Mm-hmm. And they say, you know, like head out. So by the time, which I think this is kind of ridiculous, that the officers didn't look at their packs until they were already kind of far away from their forward operating base. They realized that they were given the wrong maps. Orders from other operations were in their bags. Nothing that had to do with what they were doing that day. And the only thing that was correct is that they found out that they were vastly outnumbered.
That's
By the guys
horrifying.
Exactly. And there was this giant it was like 1,400 yards of like just busted up road they had to advance up with like no cover before they could even get to where they were supposed to be at. Jesus. So essentially all hell breaks loose. They start marching forward. They blow their whistles, they start marching up to this town, and these guys just start shredding them. They are heavily encamped. They are just shredding these guys, and like back then it was like, hey, there's no cover. There's no trenches on here. They're literally just essentially walking through no man's land or its equivalent up to this town. So everything goes nuts. So the special thing about these Norfolk guys, first off, is that they were in service to the crown. Uh-huh. They were like kind of taken from the king's own household, and they were trained, and they had this really kind of another cool little fact I thought was cool was that based on your family or that person's that individual's rank within the house, like if you were like a butler who served like a royal person directly, you were an officer. If you were a cook, you were just a grunt.
Wow, that's fucked, man. So they really just swapped out everyone's uniforms, huh?
Literally. So like imagine if you're just like some guys like, yeah, I'm gonna get a summer job, it's great, I can be a cook. You know what? Now you're fighting. and the guy and that like 70-year-old man who's like serving the king tea.
I bet he's in charge of you. I bet there was a guy in that household who like just came off the front line and was like, fuck that army shit. I'm gonna go work for one of these fucking blue bloods and just make some fucking money and not have to dodge bullets. And then like he woke up the next morning real fucking pissed.
He's like, fuck. Hey, guess what? You just got drafted. I know that you're like a guy that cuts grass and stuff, but I need you to go fight in like the most bloody war up to this point since the Crusades.
Oh man.
So that was just like a cool little side thing on these guys. But so what happens is they advance, and so they're just getting cut to ribbons. Of only like very few of them, like less than half, make it to the town actually, where the fighting is even more intense. Now you're using bolt action rifles, clearing houses with them.
Yeah,
and artillery's going off. So to cut to the chase of what happens, a survivor, of which there were very few, said that they saw the Norfolk Battalion, the 5th Norfolk, being led by their officer at one point, charging up into the enemy position. He kept, like, they went ahead of him and he chased after them. And so he's following them later. As he's rushing past to where they were, he sees their commanding officer laying up against a tree with his head rolled over to the side. He's like, I don't know if he was asleep or I don't know if he was dead, but his head was kind of slinking in a really weird way.
Yeah.
He was dead. And the last he heard and saw was the men of the 5th charging into smoke. And then what happened was that smoke lifted into the sky and they never saw them again.
Yeah, bro.
They ran into a cloud of smoke. And then apparently this survivor had said it was actually in a news article later on once he had come back, like he had recovered from, like he was in a coma, kind of shit like that. He had seen that there was like this cloud or like this smoke thing. They charged into what they thought was like, artillery smoke or gunpowder smoke, anything like that. They ran through it and there was heavy fighting they heard. And then once the smoke looked like it lifted up into the sky, there was other little patches of smoke. It flew off. And these guys were nowhere to be found. They couldn't find anything.
Did it just fly away, or did it fly up? Like, was it? Like,
no, it just flew. No, it just like took like from what the guy said, they just flew out and away, so somewhere else.
Oh, okay, but it didn't like fly into the atmosphere.
That's what I was thinking.
Because I was gonna say, like, dude, they're those like
they just got
rocks.
hit with the tractor beam.
The remnants of the battalion are these green rocks on Mars.
They got launched into Mars.
They became ejecta.
They all just morphed into one amorphous blob. But like it was like 250 dudes that went missing. And so what people like to think is that the enemy that they were fighting. Where am I?
Now hold on. You said this is World War I, man. People
World War
just
I, bro.
talked bonkers for no reason. How do we know that
They
wasn't
just
a
said
metaphor?
anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't a metaphor because well, here's the thing. That's what I thought.
Battalion go up in flames.
It's like gone. Or I watched them like I mean, just even being like just even saying, "Oh, a cloud took them away." You know, one guy said here, came around 1965. So this guy, his name's Gallipoli, came around in 1965. He referenced the Sandram Company battalion, and the regiment first started to emerge when 3 New Zealand veterans claimed to have seen a British regiment marching up a sunken road, who were then swallowed up in a cloud and disappeared.
Huh.
Yeah, they disappeared into gas. It was
Exactly.
mustard gas.
Well, they weren't using mustard gas in this situation, which I thought it was. I was like, okay, it's some type of chemical warfare. It's mustard gas. It could just be flares or smoke. Whatever. It's war. You're not gonna be able to see.
Yeah.
So I just thought, okay, well, they just disappeared. Like they died. Whatever. And then to further reinforce that is that the guys that they were fighting, I'm trying to figure out. I had it written down who they were fighting, because I don't think they were Germans from like I think they were kind of like like the Hessians were kind of like mercenaries.
Yeah.
I think that they were fighting guys like that. We'll call them sellswords. But these guys were known to just kill everybody. Like even if you surrendered, they would just cut your head off and kill you. Like like they were very much like one of the survivors, the guy who had seen
in a fucking cloud of
I know,
smoke.
right? With their freaking magic clouds, they would send you to Mars
Or they're gonna
to go fight.
pull up in Goku's whip and kill you.
They took him off. So okay, now go run the dragon path. there's British bones on that dragon path. So this survivor, he had actually he kind of reinforced his own the explanation that they were just killed. Because the way he survived, he actually got shot in the face, and he was so mauled in his face that when he was laying there, essentially dying, these other guys are like the enemy were just walking around stabbing guys in the head with the bayonet, like bodies essentially, to make sure they were dead, or shooting them in the head. So they got to him and they said, "Hey, this guy's fucked." They just left him. So he survived.
Bayoneting the wounded, yeah, and they were like, "This guy's already done."
Pretty much. They're like, he's not going to make it, but he survived.
Interesting.
So people were saying, okay, well, if they killed them, there would still be some form of identification, especially for high-ranking commanders and captains. These guys are from the king's house. They're, it wouldn't have been a guy if they killed
That's
these guys.
Laundry man.
Exactly, he killed the king's cook.
I want you to picture the lieutenant colonel responsible for this battalion, right? You just found word that your entire battalion is gone. They're dead, right? And you're trying to find anyone who might have lived, but they're fucking scattered to the wind. So you finally find the one guy that lived, and you're like, "Son, you're like, Private, tell me what happened out there." And he lays it on you. The entire battalion
cloud
got whisked away in a cloud of smoke. I would have yep, I'm getting fucking court-martialed for this one.
Right? So you lost. So not only did you lose some soldiers, but you lost everyone who works in my house.
You seem to have lost your damn sense as well, soldier.
Kill this boy.
Look at that guy. Look, dude. I can't take that to the boss.
It's like, you're gonna have to change it up. We're gonna say that they were Hessians who killed them. You got to change it up a little bit, or I'm gonna lose my job and my life. They're sending me back out.
Man.
But what I was saying is there would have been some form of either gloating, hey, we killed this special infantry unit that was under the king. They had their various badges and pins and stuff that they would have kept and eventually found down the line, because up to this day people still don't really know what happened. So that was so people will say, oh, well, they just got killed, kind of like what you guys are saying. That cloud of smoke was just war. It was just the hate, the fog of war, and either they died, either they were gunned down and killed, or they were taken as prisoners for a bit and then killed in a different area. But then people say, well, we would have found something. There was specific people in the army during World War One whose job was to go out after the battles and count the dead and identify the dead if there was anything left to identify them. Now, it doesn't say that these like mercenaries were cannibals and they ate them.
Right.
So that's what we're saying. There should have been something, but there's nothing. There's literally nothing. So they went. So after kind of like once the war was kind of winding down, they were going to POW camps trying to see if there was anyone from that unit. Nothing. The only like type of eyewitness account said that they were taken off by the Nimbus cloud. You know.
Wow, man.
So you know, and it's not. You know, and this wouldn't be the first time that some type of wacky war stuff happened, or like some type of aerial apparition, like we would hear of ghost planes during World War II or even UFO sightings during World War II.
Yeah.
But I just thought this was really cool because it was World War One, kind of a war that doesn't get a lot of love because, I mean, it's war, but also like everyone's so obsessed with World War II. And it just was so wacky. It was just something so out there that I think someone had said like years later, someone found a pin or something from that. But that's all they found.
So I got a story for you. Sorry if this goes over time. You guys don't got anywhere to be, right?
Nah, dude.
All right,
we're waiting for Christian's grandma.
I got a good one.
Wait, what? My grandma.
I got a good one that's kind of similar. Okay, so I'm out in the field and I'm out on a hill, and what I did was like me and in my job we were left alone. They dropped us off on top of a hill and they were like, observe this artillery, and I was like, all right. So we'd be looking out at the ridge and just watching shit explode. And we're shooting these guns at night, and we're just sitting there on the hill, taking in the peaceful night. It's like fucking, 70 degrees and cool. Beautiful night. And out of nowhere, it looks like one of those fucking missile trucks. The MLRS that just shoots like 500 rockets at once.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody was fucking shooting that, And we don't have any of those on our base. We didn't have any of those on our base. They were a way bigger asset kept at like, way higher levels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are we under attack? Like, what the fuck is going on? And we're all freaking out for like a solid 15 minutes about what the fuck these things are just shooting into the sky. And this is coming from over the horizon, we're like, it can't be the guns. They don't shoot that high, and they don't have projectiles that like light up in the air so you can watch their trajectory. Yeah. And like freaky, for a solid 45 minutes, we were freaked the fuck out until we found out that it was the Starlink launch.
Oh shit!
Oh no! The fake fucking
dude.
Yeah.
Tesla declared war on the United States.
It was the Starlink launch, and it was just such a clear night that we could see it, and we were just
that's crazy.
Yeah, we were freaked the fuck out, man. It was nuts, Shit like that happens all the time.
Yeah, no, totally. Just like case in point, right there, like you said, it's like with stuff like that, you don't know what you're looking at.
I thought. For like a solid 5 seconds there, I was like, is this it? Like, are we getting Red Dawn right now? I was like, they didn't even give me rounds for this gun. This is just a prop.
This is just a prop. I'm doing a play right now.
I'm just out here so I can learn accountability.
Accountability.
Oh
I didn't want to get hit by a missile.
I can't shoot a guy right now. I don't even have bullets.
Yeah. That's funny, but that's also I'd freak out too. Like hearing you talking that gave me goosebumps.
It's crazy shit like that happens all the time. Everybody wants to talk about the horrors of war, but nobody wants to talk about the horrors of war.
Dang. I feel that, dude. No one talks about the horrors of being non-deployed on base.
That was me. Full disclosure, I never went to war, dog. Uncle Sam paid me to sit around in Louisiana for 3 years.
All right, then. That's my story. We'll never find them. I will, but they'll never find them. So, yeah, Christian, what you got?
It's a little old my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched Nope this week.
Oh, yeah.
Not what I thought I'd be getting. Let's go.
Interesting. So I watched the movie. It was tremendous, and it got me in the mood. I don't really want to give too much about that film. It's best tasted without any knowledge walking in, but it got me in the mood for a little alien abduction story.
Let's go.
So I went into my little bag of tricks, and I found a cute little one that I think y'all might like today. So,
Lay it on us.
we're going to examine the fanged humanoids of Kofu.
Oh, okay.
Now, first up, everyone knows where Kofu is, right?
No.
No. Kofu? No.
Kofu is a city in Japan. It is the hometown of the Sailor Moon creator, Naoko Takeuchi.
Wow.
You know, mid-size. I knew Sailor Moon would tickle your fancy, Ryan.
Always, brother.
And this is a paranormal. Let's call it event in 1975.
1975.
So let's paint the story here. It's very Stranger Things-esque. It starts with two young boys. I think they're like 7 years old.
Okay.
And they're just roller skating down the street. And it's 1975, and the world's never been better, right?
Uh-huh.
And the sun is starting to go down, and it gets that afternoon golden hour.
Twilight.
Of course. And they start to see this strange, glittery orange light out in the forest.
Okay.
So they think, like good, curious little boys, they are going to go out and see what's going on, because they see these two orange lights that sort of converge and then break away. One heads out towards the mountains, and one looks like it's going down into the forest, like clearing below. And as they're getting closer, they report hearing the noise that sounded like a Geiger counter ticking rapidly.
That's never good.
Which, I mean, I'm 7. I don't know what a Geiger counter really does. It's just that thing that makes the noise.
The tick, 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 tick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not worried about nothing. I'm not stressed. They report seeing the most generic, classic UFO. Long silver dish with a little, oval on top for the cockpit. Like, UFO 101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby's first UFO.
Mm-hmm. And they say that it's just sitting there in a clearing, just landed right there in the forest for these little boys to discover. Like, it's a beautiful, children's adventure for them to go on. And they say a hatch opened up, and what is described as a incredibly wrinkly, dark brown humanoid in a small scuba suit comes out.
The Zaytans.
He is so wrinkly that you can't make out any of its features besides its pointed ears and its long silver fangs.
Oh.
What the?
Huh.
So
Silver? Wait, you
I
said
pictured
silver
a
fangs?
Yes, the long fangs poking out of its mouth, and it's super wrinkly face so you can't see eyes or any face on it, and it has long elf ears.
The elf ears.
What?
The boys naturally want to go see what's up with the little alien, the little fanged humanoid. So they go up to him, and it says that the beast, placed one hand on one of the boys and made a noise that was described as a tape recorder running backwards. Can I get an attempt at that? What's a tape recorder running backwards sound like? That's pretty good. So it was like that. And the boy who got touched on the shoulder immediately collapses.
Oh shit!
What the fuck?
Holy shit!
These guys ain't
the alien
fucking
comes
around.
out, touches him, goes, blah, 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 and he hits the ground.
No way.
So the other boy, being a hero, immediately grabs the boy who collapsed and drags him the fuck out of there. Gets him out of that encounter
honor.
because they're not winning that fight.
Yeah, he just like read the Bible to him backwards and killed the boy.
Just obliterated his nervous system.
Fucking folded his ass.
So this is just the first encounter. So first off, can I get your thoughts? How is this alien encounter going as compared to other ones that you've heard?
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and I mean this in like a serious way. Like it's kind of like wacky almost. Like it almost seems like a joke. You know?
It's a little like adventurous, a little like a little zany and fun,
like whimsical. Like almost like whimsical.
Like
these little boys having an alien adventure.
I would watch this if it was like a show.
Yes,
This feels like a
exactly.
show, like a one-off episode of like a kid's show.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. It was
Like
it was so different from other abduction or like alien encounters I've ever heard
A
about.
Disney Channel original Halloween special.
So, following the failed fight with the fanged humanoid, the one boy drags the collapsed child out, and he begins to regain his senses. He eventually is able to like walk and like operate his body again, and they run back to their mothers to report what they saw. And both of the mothers agree they want to go see what's up. They want to give that fucking alien a piece of their mind.
Who touched my boy?
Because they assaulted their kids.
Oh god.
No way.
So
This not
two boys.
not the first alien encounter we've heard where a mom was like, "Show me." Remember the sheep slayer?
well, let me see him then. Well, like think about it. If you're a parent, which
Oh yeah, I understand it.
and your kid comes home and was like, "Yeah, I got attacked by a dude in a spacesuit," you're like, "Okay, let's go find him."
Bro.
Like, show me where.
All right, son, let me grab the strap.
You know,
Now, hold on.
Pop.
Get the long eye.
I got attacked by
Pop,
a guy with silver fangs. Huh?
So, mom, and the two boys head back to the landing site, where they report that a bright orange pulsing light flashbanged for at least 5 minutes, and it was gone. So, like, apparently the launching emitted such a bright light that they couldn't see for about 5 minutes, which sounds like a blinding amount of time for me.
Yeah, like you walked up and it, like when it hurt your eyes, you were like, we got to give it 5 minutes to make sure this isn't a trick.
They're saying that's how long the light
Oh,
lasted.
that's how
American
long it
after all.
lasted.
It emitted for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then it was gone, and it like jutted off into the sky.
Damn.
So that's this story continues on. The next day in school, right?
Uh-huh.
You got attacked by an alien over the weekend. How long does it take before you tell everyone in the second grade?
bro, I'm singing that as I'm riding it
on
on my bike.
Exactly. You don't make it to nap time. You don't make it to social
There
studies.
isn't nap time that day.
Oh.
Like, Billy got like Vulcan nerve blasted by the alien in the park, and
By alien Nosferatu.
Yeah.
so the kids start regaling the class and whipping them up into a frenzy, so much so that like school has to stop. all the kids are too riled up. The city starts to like the rumor spreads throughout the town. Like a frenzy is whipped up, almost a riot happens in the city, so much so that townsfolk, armed, civilians, teachers, and the kids all go back to the landing site that day. Because they want to see what the fuck went down.
That's so. They had too much time on their hands, bro. That's why the internet needed to be invented.
Dude, here's what happened, man. When fucking Nosferatu hit the Vulcan death grip on this guy, he fucking implanted something in him to be like, go and get everyone you can and bring them back here. That's what happened, man. This was planned.
I'm gonna clown the shit out of them.
Bring them to this site right here and stand right at this clearing so that I can pick them up.
Yeah.
So
that I can pick them up.
Did I call
think
it?
about this. You're now another parent who took your kid to school on Monday, and you see all of them marching down the street with other town residents and the teachers. They brought guns. They brought weapons. And they're like, we're going to the alien landing site. Little Jimmy got Vulcan
There's
grip.
some spaceman attacking our children. I
stand
like how they're
Brad.
now Japanese rednecks.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot.
Isn't that the Osaka accent? It's like the
Those
rural accent.
Yeah, the Osakans.
I wouldn't
Mhm.
know.
So
I
sorry,
do.
I'm a fucking weeb. I apologize for that. So they go back to the landing site where they see scorch marks in the appropriate like radius to be like the landing gear on the grass. They see cement pillars that were collapsed and knocked over from the force of the launching. Like so much proof that everybody who went and saw to confirm the alien landing completely bought in. They said, yep, this is where it was. I see all the evidence right here. No kid could have collapsed this like cement pillar.
Huh.
No kid that we know.
And
of.
we're gonna
all
wait
convinced.
right here with our guns for those spacemen to come back. And we're gonna kill
We're gonna
them.
give them a piece of our minds.
That's fucking awesome.
What they do is they report to the Civilian Aviation Bureau of Transportation. This is the Ministry of Japan that deals with aviation, right?
Yeah.
And they bring down a UFO investigator to begin, like, you know, this is coming from the feds, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, we gotta like calm these motherfuckers down. We gotta like put the fear of God in them, but like of a knowing God. We can't let them freak out over the aliens. So the ministry says, no, an alien did not land in Kofu, and a little wrinkly man did not grip your son and cause him nerve damage. It was
The Americans.
one of these. It was the communists.
I fucking knew it.
They said it was the YS-11 plane. So here's a picture of the plane.
So the plane did it to him.
They said that a plane of this type, the YS-11, was flying through the vicinity at the exact same time as the reported the reported encounter, and that it can emit like these bright lights from the angle of viewing down on Earth. Like from the ground, it can like make these weird lights to make you maybe think that an alien spaceship is up in the sky.
Okay.
So
Sounds like
basically-
skeptoids to me.
The ministry's trying to shit on these little kids and say that this didn't happen.
Yeah.
But little old me did more sleuthing into the YS-11.
Okay, yeah. Tell
Right.
me about the YS-11.
So let me
Yeah.
get you the
What's
facts.
its armaments?
So this encounter happened in 1975.
Uh-huh.
The YS-11 was first produced in 1962,
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
and production stopped in 1974. So new ones weren't being built.
Okay.
So this is an old plane.
No longer in production.
No longer in production. It is the only plane for civilian and freight produced by Japan, for Japan.
Civilian, like anyone with like a hobbyist with a license could pick one of these up if he really wanted.
A civilian as in a passenger. It moves passenger
okay,
and freight.
okay.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is a Japanese plane built in Japan for Japanese markets.
Mm-hmm.
And there were only 182 of them built.
Okay.
So I put those together and I was like, okay, something about that feels like you're deflecting using knowable local
Right.
entities.
Yeah, yeah.
Now the interesting thing about the YS-11 is that they are very durable. They were flying up until 2006 regularly.
That's a well-made
And
plane.
the last one, the final flight of a YS-11 was in 2018 when the final one grounded.
That's pretty badass.
Wow. Yeah.
So part of me thinks maybe this was like a publicity opportunity for their space or for their airplane.
Oh,
Or like they turned it
they're trying to
into one.
promote it.
Yeah, like they rode the hype and used it to promote this local
Check out this
airport.
plane.
That wasn't a
This
UFO.
plane almost killed this kid.
That was the YS-11, Japanese civilian and freight aircraft. It starts going into like
Exactly.
the
They
Final
were like,
Fantasy
"No."
14 meme.
This was not an alien. That was the home-crafted YS-11.
Delivering your
Aircraft Manufacturing Corporation airplane.
I love it.
Originally produced in 1962 to 1974, now making them a collectible.
By Square Enix.
So the other reason, not just like me crackpotting a promotion story out of this, there are a couple things that help to pick apart the story. So a little bit after, a UFO, like a paranormal investigator, comes into town and is cross-referencing people in the town to try and build the story. And he says that another child, at the same time as the two boys saw the landing, reported an orange light dashing from the mountains down into the forest, like miles away from an expressway heading into Kofu.
As the resident expert on YS-11s, do they have orange lights?
Let me tell you, I couldn't fucking tell you if it had orange lights or not, bro. It's an airplane.
But I mean, no, like every plane you've ever seen was red and green, right?
I mean, this one's like silver. I know there's like a
No,
black.
I mean
there's, like, a
the
sleek white
lights, the lights on it.
Yes.
You know, so I mean,
That
that probably wasn't a YS.
That was the
Took out
Prime
the
Minister's
YS-11.
personal one?
That was the Prime Minister's YS-12.
No,
One of one,
not the
bro.
YS-12. One of one YS-12's made.
In case you were wondering, it has a freight load of 55,000 pounds.
Jeez.
Carry a lot of fanged humanoids in that.
You carry a lot of UFOs in that.
But no, I thought it was wacky right from the get when the description was like Nosferatu, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one picture that floats around anywhere you look for it, and I have some consternations about using it because it's like someone's artwork, but you know, we'll link them. There you go.
Oh,
It's kind of sick. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
They highlight the main features being like the fangs, the ears, and the wrinkly, like to the point of like inscrutable wrinkliness.
like mummy, almost like a mummy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like a mummy.
Like a mummy or like a elephant beast.
Elephant beast, please.
Wild.
And yeah, the case goes cold after that. The orange lights were never like reported again. The fanged humanoids never came back. They never gripped more kids. But it was enough one time to like whip them all into a frenzy and get like the town heading over to the field to like investigate this as a community.
I want to live in a town that's so tight where it takes two kids being like, yo, some spacemen attacked us for the whole town to be rolling up armed.
They're like, oh god.
They're like, oh yeah? Where at?
They toast you, son, on gritty? Let's get them.
Tell me where.
Just point, boy. I'll handle them spacemen.
That kind of reminds me of that orange scarecrow you gave me a couple weeks back, Dan.
Christian gave you that.
Yes, the one that I gave you.
You gave me that, yeah. This is the second time I've made that mistake.
Mhm.
I'm a simple man, you know.
There was an important detail I forgot about the YS-11. Why I thought it was a promotion. That's
Oh.
It had Sega plastered across the side.
No, they produced them and their variants to sell internationally, and it was a huge bomb in the 60s. They lost like hundreds of millions of dollars on the YS-11.
They're trying to...
All 600 of them they built.
It was the only like transport and passenger ship plane developed in Japan, so they really wanted to like sell it to various places, and they did sell it to various countries, but it was a bomb commercial.
So this was their
But it sounds like a good plane, though, which is kind of sad. Like it's like from what you've described, it sounds like a solid plane.
Yeah, sounds like it did. Did some damn fine work up there.
But it was
Really
the
good.
perfect opportunity for a promotional moment.
Yeah, our plane's so sick you'll think it's a UFO.
It'll like give your kid a seizure.
Our plane's
It
so
will fucking
sick,
kill your
space
child.
Vampires will hop out of it and kill your child. Purchase the YS-11 for your fleet today.
Purchase it for you today.
Tired of those rowdy youths? Well, we
my
got
God.
a plane for you.
I'm on the YS official page. Never mind.
Can we buy one?
There's a lot of
Oh.
crashes.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well.
There's like over 20
Oh, that's not good.
Well.
out of 182 dogs. Oh my god.
That's it's not good. That's a bad
I'd
number.
like to-
Over 20 accidents and crashes.
I would like to rescind all statements I've made about the YS11.
We are not YS11 fans here.
That's.
We are Japan fans, not the YS11.
I'm closing this window. I'm done looking at airplane facts. This sucks.
Well, all right, folks. This has been Mad Tower Radio, episode 46. If you would like to send us in your cryptid, ghost, conspiracy encounter, you can do so at supermadtower@gmail.com. Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Mad Tower Radio. Send us in your story. We'll tell it on the show. Gentlemen, you got anything for the people?
Oh yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, folks. This has been Mad Tower Radio.
A frequency beyond space and time.
Unspeakable knowledge. It is Mad Tower Radio.
You're right. That's why they call me fucking the Dia de los Muertos, bro. They call me that over there.
Nobody.
I was
They
like,
don't call you that.
here we go.
They don't call you
Ryan's-
that.
He's got a very clear like vocal pattern when he's about to pull something out. You hear that little wind up as his brain moving. And I was like, okay, let's see what he gets. Let's see what comes out.
Oh, man. That was a good one, Ryan.